Welcome to this GiftWorks video. My name is Jonathan Lehman. This is the 7th video in a 7-part video series on GiftWorks Events. GiftWorks Events is an optional add-in that can be purchased, and it works with any of the versions of the GiftWorks fundraising software from GiftWorks 2008 and later. In the previous videos as part of this video series, I've already demonstrated how you can use GiftWorks Events to set up and manage events. I've been using an event called the 2009 Winter Banquet. I've shown how you can set up the basic information for the event, such as the name, and setting income and attendance goals, designing the activities or orderable items for the event, inviting people to your event with their participant list, tracking your event tasks or to-do list, creating reservations where the donors can actually order those activities, and tracking the event expenses. And then we demonstrated how, as you add a lot of that information to the event, how the information as far as total income and potential income, expected income, and the expenses and net income is all being built as you work with the event, and then showing how you can use GiftWorks events to follow up for the event, maybe sending reminder mailings or thank you letters. In the previous video, we demonstrated the powerful reporting that is available on not only for single events, where you can get various reports for a single event, but also as you look across your events to analyze your events over time, and also analyze the income or expenses for your events, and looking at what things are working for your events, what types of events are working better than others, and how you can better use events to engage your donors with your organization. Now in this particular video, we want to focus on how GiftWorks events can help you to analyze how your events and donors interact with each other, and that's the powerful feature. The fact that GiftWorks Events is an add-in to our GiftWorks fundraising software is it lets you analyze how your events and donors interact, since your donors are already part of your GiftWorks fundraising software. And it's important because it helps you engage new donors and strengthen existing donor relationships. So let's begin by signing into GiftWorks. If you've installed the GiftWorks Events add-in, you'll have this additional option on the toolbar. Now let's begin just by showing, if I was happening to be working with a donor, and so I was working with Mark Aliota. If I was working with him, the first thing I notice as I'm looking at his donor information, that the last interaction that shows up is, it says an event. So I'm curious, I can click on that, and it takes me right to that event, and I can see that he has participated in that event. He's on the participant list, he's attended. I can look at the reservations and see the reservations that Mark has done. I can also just look at more information, and I can actually start to work with that event. But I can also, from within the Details tab, I can also look, and there's an additional section right at my fingertips. I have additional events summary information for Mark. It shows me the amount that he's spent on events, the total sponsorship dollars. It shows me how many invitations he's had and how many he's accepted or declined. It shows me the events he's attended, the reservations that he's made, and I can click on any of these, and I could go right to the golf tournament if I need. So right at my fingertips, I can see how he's been involved with my organization from an event standpoint. So just like I have information on relationships and donations, I also have that information on his event activity. Also on notes and tasks, anytime he's been added or removed from a participant list, or a reservation has been added or removed for him, I have that information here, and I can go ahead and I can click on that, and I can get the information. I can go right to that event. I also have available to me, I have some reports that are donor reports but are event specific. So if I click on Run a Report, I have two reports here at the bottom. I have an event sponsorships by donor, where I can actually see the event sponsorships that Mark has done. I can also run that report from the reports section, from the events reports, and actually run this for multiple donors, but I also can run it just for a single donor. I can also run a report called the Donor Event Summary. It's very similar to the Donor Summary Report. And again, I could run this from the Reports menu for all donors, but if I want to run it just for this donor, it shows me sort of a snapshot of, gives me even more information about his event participation with my organization. So it shows you the total amount that he's spent or paid for the current year, the previous year, both calendar and fiscal, and the overall amount, how much he has due. It shows me his sponsorship dollars. Shows me a list of the events that he's on the participant list and the status and whether he's attended. Shows me his reservations. It also shows me the event payments that are due. So you can see that there's lots of reports to show me how this donor has interacted with my organization, how he's participated in the events that I've held as an organization, and the ways that he's participated in our mission through those events. And it just gives me additional information on his relationship with our organization. That's sort of looking at it from an individual donor standpoint, but I could also look at that more from an analysis standpoint. There's lots of information on Donor SmartLists, that there's criteria available for events and also columns available based on event information. So I could create a Donor SmartList, and you'll see that I have two additional categories: events activity and events financials. This is all events criteria based on events activity. The first several just some true or false, whether or not he's invited, attended, or sponsored any event. And then we also have some that are date sensitive. The most recent event invited date, like when's the most recent date that he was actually invited to an event. We also have that for attended and sponsored, and we also have any date and the first date, so we can do some comparisons there. And then we also, if we want to specifically check for specific events that he was either invited to or declined or accepted or attended or sponsored or reserved, we can do that here. So if we want to see that if he all the donors that have reservations for the 2009 Winter Banquet, gives us a list immediately. Let me look at another criteria here. For example, let's say, for instance, here's a good example. Let's say I will see anybody that's attended an event. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to refine that criteria, and I'm going to say I'm going to use this most recent attended date and say before the beginning of this year. So basically what I'm asking is, I'm interested in people that have attended events in the past, but they haven't attended any event this year. So you can see a list of 64 donors I might want to contact, and find out maybe might want to do some more analysis to why they participated in events in the past, but they're not anymore. So there's lots of criteria that's available. And there's, as I demonstrated, there's both activity criteria and there's also financial criteria. So this is based on dollars that are spent, the total amount that is expected that they have on reservations, or that's outstanding, or that they spent on events. But you can also do it for the current year or the previous year, both fiscal and calendar, and also for the periods that you can define within SmartList. And you can also analyze sponsorship dollars independently. So if you want to know who sponsored your events or who spent money on sponsorships. So let me demonstrate. Let me create a smart list of all those that have an outstanding amount that they owe for our events. So here's a list of 6 donors. I'm going to create the smart list and say standing amount owed. And I also want to show you here that we also have a bunch of columns available on a Donor SmartList for event information. So again, we have information about whether they've ever been invited to an event, attended an event, sponsored an event, the most recent event that was attended, and so forth. So we could add that, or some dates here with lots of information available that gives us information. So we can see that Mark, the most recent event he attended was the 2009 Winter Banquet, but the first event he ever attended was the 2007 golf tournament. So it gives us additional information. Now I've created this smart list of donors that still owe money for the events that they've attended. They've had some reservations, they didn't pay those amounts. So I can use that now in a mailing. See how this intersects with our mailing. So I can send mail to these donors, and it creates a donor mailing. I have these 6 donors here, and I've created a letter that is my event payments due letter, and I'll show that this letter right now is pretty generic. It just says, our records, thank you for participating, but our records show you that you have an outstanding balance. But I could actually personalize that letter. Again, I have events information available within mailing, a lot of the similar type of information. But I could say I can choose the amount outstanding for events in this case. So I have both dates and a lot of fiscal amounts, and I have some tables here at the bottom. So I could say the amount outstanding for events, and I could also put a table listing. I could put a sentence or something and list a table of all of the payments that are due. Might want to put a little heading on that. I won't do that for sake of time now. So I can personalize that letter. I can click next. I can preview that, and you can see that it shows that he owes $160. It gives him, we have information. Well, this is for Jackie, and here's from Monte Cliff. And you see, it gives us information about the total amount that they owe, and also it gives them detailed information about what was expected, what they've already paid, and what is due. So you can see how that also intersects with our mailings. So the power in GiftWorks Events is that it's not a standalone application. It actually works with your GiftWorks fundraising software, and it helps you to analyze your donor interaction with, provide you additional information with how they are involved with your organization, and it shows you how your events and your donors interact. We hope that this video series has been helpful, and in some small way with it, GiftWorks Events can help your organization fulfill its mission. Thanks for watching these videos.